In the depths of space, a mysterious shadow looms, an ancient force beyond human understanding, waiting to be unleashed. When a daring crew ventures into the abyss, they stumble upon a portal that blurs the line between reality and the unknown. But what lies beyond could change everything we thought we knew about the universe and themselves. As darkness swirls and secrets threaten to consume them, one question remains. Are they brave enough to step through the gateway, or will the secrets of the cosmos trap them forever? Prepare for an adventure where curiosity is your only guide and the truth lies in the shadows. Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCar button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button. Right now, hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. All right, let's dive into the story. The endless black stretched out before her, vast and unforgiving, a void so complete that it seemed to swallow the very light of distant stars. Amid this emptiness, the wreckage of Station Kuhl 9 drifted like a corpse abandoned in the graveyard of space. Twisted metal spiraled slowly, caught in a ghostly dance, each jagged fragment catching faint starlight like shards of a broken dream. The silence was deafening, broken only by the faint, rhythmic hum of Lei's salvage pod as it navigated through the debris. Her grip tightened on the controls, her blue skin almost glowing in the faint red glow of the emergency strobes flickering above. They cast jagged crimson shadows that danced across the battered walls, shadows that seemed to whisper horrors long past. Lei pulled her gray cloak tightly around her shoulders as if it could somehow shield her from the haunting sights. The fabric, frayed and worn from countless expeditions, was little protection against the sight that lay before her. Her scanner chirped insistently, its green blip unwavering, a steady heartbeat amidst the chaos. A ghost signal, impossible yet undeniable. She whispered to herself, another ghost signal, but her voice was barely more than a breath. Her hands, steady despite her pounding heart, guided the pod toward the faint life reading. She had learned long ago not to trust her eyes or her instincts alone. Too many lives had been lost because she trusted assumptions. The station's outer hull loomed ahead, a terrible skeleton, its ribs melted and fused in strange, unnatural patterns. The scorch marks spiraled inward in deliberate, almost artistic patterns, as if someone had designed the destruction rather than simply caused it. Whatever had happened here hadn't been quick. No, it had been calculated, planned. The scars of flames twisted in spirals, hinting at a dark purpose, a message encoded in destruction. Lei carefully docked her pod with the remnants of Airlock 7, the seals hissing softly as they engaged. The atmosphere within was bitter and thin, tasting of ionized metal and something else, something organic and wrong. Her footsteps echoed in the silence, bouncing strangely in the corridor, which had been heated and cooled so many times that it now shimmered with crystalline patterns. Emergency lighting strips flickered overhead, some dead, others strobing in cryptic sequences that looked almost like a code. Her scanner's ping grew louder as she moved deeper into the station's core. The corridor was strewn with bodies, some in evacuation suits, others in their everyday clothes, frozen in death. Her stomach clenched at the sight. She'd seen death before, but something about these remains was different. They weren't just dead. They'd been positioned, arranged deliberately, as if someone had tried to craft a message for beyond the grave. The thought made her stomach churn, yet she pressed on, guided by the steady pulse of her scanner. It led her to the station's central hub, once a vital nexus of life support and power. Now, it was a ruined cathedral, the ceiling torn open to reveal the starry abyss beyond. Debris was carefully piled, neat, precise, almost ritualistic. And in the center of this wreckage, beneath a mound of twisted metal, she saw it, the faint, trembling movement of a hand, blackened and burned but still twitching with the rhythm of a failing heartbeat. Mother of Stars, Lei breathed out, dropping to her knees beside the debris. Her gloved hands instinctively reached for the charred metal, pulling away shards with reckless urgency. The hand was attached to an arm, melted, fused into the debris, and then, finally, she uncovered a man. His body was wrapped in a melted black fabric, some kind of cloak or robes, now fused into his skin in patches of molten flesh. The hood covered his face completely, but she could see his chest rising and falling, shallow and labored. Burns covered every inch of his visible skin, crisscrossed and blistered, yet somehow he still breathed. Her voice was barely above a whisper as she asked, "Can you hear me? Are you alive?" The man's head shifted slowly toward her, movement strained and deliberate. Despite the darkness hiding his eyes beneath the shadowed hood, she felt his gaze like a weight pressed against her chest. His voice rasped out, broken and brittle, like shards of glass scraping against concrete. "Are you not afraid of me?" he rasped, each word a struggle. Lei hesitated, then managed to say softly, "I'm afraid of leaving someone alone," her voice trembling just a little. It was a truth she hadn't expected to speak aloud, but somehow it felt right. She reached out carefully, supporting his trembling frame as he struggled to sit upright. His body was heavier than it looked, more controlled, more deliberate. There was an unsettling grace in his movements, a fluidity that didn't belong to someone on the brink of death. She looked around at the wreckage, at the corpses, the deliberate patterns, her mind racing with questions. Her scanner beeped again, louder, more insistent. The man's shallow breaths echoed in the silent void, and she knew this moment was just the beginning. Whatever had happened here, whatever secrets this place held, she was about to find out. And she could feel it. This was no ordinary wreckage. No, something darker lurked beneath the dust, waiting patiently in the shadows of the blackened station, watching, listening. And she was about to step right into its haunted heart. The journey through the void was quieter than Lei had ever experienced, each mile stretching endlessly, punctuated only by the hum of her ship's engines and her racing thoughts. The weight of what she'd seen pressed heavily on her mind. The burned station, the strange man she'd rescued, and the horrifying secrets hidden beneath that twisted wreckage. Sleep was a distant memory, replaced by restless vigilance as she navigated the silent black, the stars outside flickering like distant, indifferent eyes. She kept glancing at her passenger, who sat motionless, eyes closed, hands folded in his lap, as if he were meditating or perhaps trying to block out the chaos surrounding them. Her voice broke the silence, tentative but gentle. "Where are we exactly?" she asked softly, eyes flickering over the navigation readouts. "Grid reference 779, he replied, his voice low, almost a whisper. "Desert planet. No colonies, no patrols. Nothing but dust and death," she muttered, more to herself than him. He nodded slightly, eyes still closed as if confirming the data in his mind. 3 days travel from where we were, he added quietly. Lei shot him a skeptical glance. 3 days? That's a long trip with no guarantee of safety. This place smells like trouble. Her tone was edged with fatigue, but beneath it was a flicker of determination. "And I've got a bad feeling about that signal you mentioned. Ghosts don't usually send clear beacons, not unless they want to be found." He cracked one eye open, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "You're right about that," he said, voice gravelly yet oddly calm. "But sometimes, ghosts are the only way to find the truth." Lei shook her head, amused despite herself. "You talk like you've been through this before," she said, her tone teasing but edged with genuine curiosity. "More than you know," he replied softly, eyes drifting back closed again. "Sometimes, I wonder if I'm more ghost than man now." She chuckled softly, but the humor was short-lived. The ship's sensors beeped sharply, a warning she'd learned to distrust and respect equally. Her eyes darted to the screen, where a blip appeared, small but persistent, a faint green dot amid the black. "Another signal," she said, voice hushed but alert. "Exactly like the one we found at Kill 9. Only this time, it's clearer, more deliberate, or more desperate," her passenger added, voice strained. "They're trying to reach someone. Les brau furroveth, or try to warn us," she murmured. "But I've learned not to trust signals in this mess. Usually, they're traps, ghosts leading us to the slaughter." He looked at her, eyes piercing in the dim cockpit light. "Sometimes," he said slowly, "you have to follow the ghosts. They're the only ones who know the truth." She sighed, rubbing her temples. "All right then," she said, voice firmer. "Let's see where this trail leads. But if it's trouble, I'm blaming you." Her passenger chuckled softly, a dry, humorless sound. "Fair enough," he said. "Just remember, sometimes the ghosts are the only witnesses left, and they never lie." As the ship altered course toward the faint signal, Lei couldn't shake the feeling that she was stepping deeper into something darker, something that had been waiting in the shadows since Kill 9. The silence stretched again, thick with unspoken fears and unyielding questions. She glanced once more at her companion, still calm, still enigmatic, and wondered how much of himself he was willing to reveal. The stars outside blurred into streaks of light as the ship sped toward the unknown, carrying them into the abyss where secrets and shadows lurked, waiting to be uncovered. And somewhere deep down, Lane knew that this was only the beginning of a journey that would change everything. The ship's engines hummed steadily as they cut through the thick silence of space, the faint glow of the distant signal flickering on their console like a dying ember. Lei kept her eyes glued to the scanner, her brow furrowed in concentration, while her companion sat quietly, eyes fixed on the swirling stars outside. There was a tension in the air, a mix of anticipation and dread, as if both of them knew they were approaching something far beyond mere debris or ghost signals. Lei broke the silence with a sharp, almost amused remark. "You know, I've seen a lot of strange things in my line of work," she said, voice tinged with a mix of sarcasm and curiosity. "But following ghost signals in the middle of nowhere, that's a new one even for me." He smirked, eyes still half closed, and replied, "Sometimes the ghosts are the only ones who can tell us what's really going on." Lei rolled her eyes. "Yeah, and sometimes they're just messing with us. Like this whole game of hide and seek in the dark." She paused, then added with a smirk, "Or maybe I've just watched too many horror flicks." He chuckled softly, then leaned forward, voice dropping to a more serious tone. "Look, Lei, whatever's waiting for us out there, whether it's a trap, a message, or a warning, it's trying to tell us something. We're not here by accident. Something pulled us here." She shot him a glance, her expression cautious. "Something or someone," she murmured, her fingers tightening around the controls. "And I have a feeling that whatever it is, it's not going to be friendly." Suddenly, the scanner beeped sharply, jolting them both. A new blip appeared, larger, more defined than before. It was unlike the faint signals they'd been chasing. This one had a pattern, a rhythm. Lei's eyes widened as she studied it. "That's no random signal," she said, voice rising slightly. "It's deliberate. It's structured. Someone's trying to talk to us." Her passenger sat up straighter, eyes narrowing. Or trying to lure us in," he said grimly. "Be careful, Lei. Ghost signals aren't always friendly. Sometimes they're the last thing you hear before everything goes dark." Lei smirked, her hands tightening on the joystick. "I've heard that before," she said, voice steady now. "But I'm not turning back. Not yet. We're too close. The signal's too strong. Whatever's waiting on the other side, I want to see it for myself." He looked at her thoughtfully, then nodded. "All right," he said softly. "But remember, in this game, the rules are rarely what they seem. Trust your instincts and don't let the ghosts outsmart you." The ship's course shifted smoothly toward the new target, the faint signal growing clearer with every passing second. As they approached, the darkness outside seemed to press in tighter, almost alive, whispering secrets in a language only the brave or the foolish would dare to decipher. Leigh's stomach tightened, but she forced herself to stay calm. Her eyes flicked between the scanner and the dark void outside, trying to read between the lines of the ghostly message. And all the while, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into a trap, a carefully laid snare waiting beneath the guise of simple signal. Yet, despite her doubts, she pressed on, knowing that in this haunted, forsaken place, the truth was waiting to be uncovered, no matter how terrifying it might be. And somewhere in the shadows, something watched, silent and patient, waiting for the unwary to stumble into its web. As the ship drew closer to the source of the signal, the atmosphere inside the cockpit grew tense, almost electric. Leigh's hands hovered over the controls, her eyes darting between the readings and the dark, swirling void outside. Her passenger sat back, silent for once, watching intently as the faint glow of the strange beacon intensified. A voice crackled through the comms, distorted but unmistakably urgent. "Someone's been here," Leigh whispered, voice trembling with a mixture of awe and apprehension. "This isn't just a signal. It's a message, something left behind, something waiting." Her companion leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Or someone," he added darkly. "This could be a trap, Leigh. Ghost signals don't usually come with a welcome mat." She scoffed softly, but her face betrayed her unease. "Yeah, well, I've been caught in traps before," she muttered. "And I've learned that sometimes the only way to find the truth is to walk right into the lion's den." Suddenly, the ship jolted violently, as if something massive had brushed against it. The lights flickered, and the ship's hull vibrated with a deep, resonant hum. Leigh's heart skipped a beat. "Whoa, did you feel that? Whatever that was, it's huge," she exclaimed, her voice sharp with alarm. Her passenger sat up, gripping the armrest tightly. "Whatever's out there," he said grimly, "it's not just a ghost. It's a beast waiting to be awakened." The scanner flashed wildly, the readings spiraling into chaos. Then a shape emerged on the screen, massive, shadowy, and grotesquely organic. It looked like a wound in space itself, a swirling mass of darkness that seemed to pulse with life. "Is that?" Leigh hesitated, her voice trembling. "Some kind of creature," her passenger finished grimly, "or a manifestation of the station's destruction. Either way, it's not happy we're here." Leigh took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. "All right," she said, voice firmer now. "We came for answers, and answers we'll get. I don't care how monstrous this thing is. We're going in." Her companion shook his head, eyes wary. "Be careful, Leigh. This isn't just an attack. It's a warning. Whatever left that signal, it's trying to tell us something we're not ready to hear." The ship's engines strained as Leigh pushed them toward the source, the creature's shadow looming larger on the screen. As they neared, the darkness outside seemed to ripple and shift as if alive, waiting for them to get closer. "You see that?" Leigh said, voice tense. "It's like the whole space around the signal is twisting, trying to keep us out. Then we go through," her passenger said quietly. "If there's truth buried in that mess, we're the only ones who can find it. Just don't forget, sometimes the ghosts are only warnings, and the real nightmare is what's waiting on the other side." Leigh's fingers clenched around the controls, her knuckles white. "Yeah," she whispered, "and I'm not backing down now." They plunged deeper into the swirling darkness, the ship trembling under the weight of what lay ahead. Outside, the monstrous shape pulsed once more, almost beckoning, a silent invitation to step beyond the boundary of fear. Leigh knew that whatever secrets were hidden on the other side, they wouldn't come easily. But she also knew that in this haunted silence, in the depths of space's deepest wounds, the truth was waiting, and it refused to stay buried forever. The shadows stretched out before them, alive with whispers, promises, and threats as they moved closer to the heart of darkness. The ship lurched again, this time with a ferocity that made the entire vessel shudder. Lei's eyes widened as she stared at the swirling mass on the scanner, feeling a cold dread creeping into her bones. Outside, the darkness seemed to ripple like disturbed water, and a low, haunting hum filled the cabin, vibrating through her bones. Her companion's expression was grim. He knew they had crossed an invisible line, and whatever was out there was angry. "Whatever that thing is," Lei said, voice trembling but determined, "it's not just a creature or a glitch. It's something alive, something furious." Her passenger leaned closer, eyes narrowing. "Lei, I've seen a lot of things in my time, but this feels like the very heart of chaos. We're messing with forces we don't understand. We could wake up something we're better off leaving alone." She shot him a quick, defiant glance. "I've heard that before," she said, voice sharp. "But if we don't go in, we'll never know what's on the other side. Maybe it's the only way to find out what caused this mess in the first place." Suddenly, a flickering burst of static crackled over the comms, and a strange voice emerged, deep, distorted, almost like a whisper from the abyss. "Leave, now, or be consumed," it rasped, echoing through the cabin with an unnatural echo. Lei's heart skipped a beat. "Did you hear that?" she asked, voice hushed, eyes darting around. "That's not just interference. That's a warning." Her passenger's face darkened with concern. "We're trapped," he muttered. "We're walking straight into something that doesn't want us here. We need to be ready for anything." The ship's engine strained as Lei pushed forward, closer to the monstrous shape on the scanner. It was like staring into the maw of a beast, a gaping wound in space that seemed to breathe with its own terrible life. The shadowy mass pulsated, and suddenly, the entire ship was bathed in an eerie, flickering glow. "Look at that," Lei whispered, awe and fear battling in her voice. "It's like a giant, living scar across the universe. Whatever it is, it's the source of everything that's gone wrong here." Her companion clenched his fists. "We need to get out of here," he said urgently. "This thing, whatever it is, won't let us leave easily. It's angry, and it's not done with us yet." Lei took a deep breath, her fingers tightening on the controls. "Hold on," she said, voice steely now. "We're going to find out what's really going on, no matter what it costs." The ship lurched again, and for a moment, she thought it might fall apart completely. Outside, the dark mass seemed to pulse once more, as if alive and aware of their presence. "You see that?" she asked, voice trembling but resolute. "The whole space around us is twisting, try to keep us out. It's like the universe itself is fighting to stop us from uncovering the truth." Her companion nodded, eyes fixed on the chaos outside. "Then we push through," he said softly, "because whatever secrets this place holds, they're worth fighting for. And if that thing out there is the darkness of the universe's soul, then we're the only ones brave enough to face it." "Les yeux tightened." "Yeah," she whispered fiercely. "We're not running now. Not when we're so close to the truth." With a final burst of energy, she pushed the ship forward, straight into the maelstrom. The darkness outside roared as if alive, and the shadowy mass seemed to swell, almost beckoning them closer. Inside, her heart hammered in her chest, but she refused to turn back. Whatever waited on the other side, be it salvation or destruction, she was determined to face it. The shadows stretched endlessly, whispering secrets in a language only the brave dared to understand. And as the ship plunged deeper into the unknown, she knew that the real nightmare was just beginning. The universe's deepest wounds were calling out, and she was about to unlock what lay hidden in the darkness. The ship shuddered violently, almost as if the universe itself was trying to shake them loose from whatever dark grip they had dared to venture into. Lei gripped the controls tightly, her knuckles white, eyes darting across the flickering screen that displayed the chaos outside. The shadowy mass had grown larger, more menacing, almost alive with a terrible hunger. Her companion was murmuring something under his breath, eyes fixed on the swirling abyss beyond the viewport. "Whatever this thing is," Lay muttered through clenched teeth, "it's not just a creature. It's a force, something ancient, something furious." He looked at her with a mix of concern and adrenaline-fueled resolve. "Lay, I hope you know what you're doing," he said sharply, "because if that thing gets any closer, we might not leave this place in one piece." She shot him a quick, defiant glance. "Then maybe we're about to find out what it's hiding," she snapped. "We didn't come this far to turn back now." Suddenly, the ship was filled with a deafening roar, like 1,000 thunderstorms colliding in space. The lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. Outside, the monstrous shadow pulsed as if breathing, alive with a terrible vitality. It was as though space itself was crying out in agony, trying to warn them away. The scanner's readout flickered erratically, a chaotic jumble of data, and then a sudden, sharp burst of static cut through the cockpit. "Did you hear that?" Lay asked, voice trembling. "That's no normal interference. That's a voice, almost like a scream, trying to tell us something." Her companion leaned in, eyes narrowing. "It's a warning," he said grimly. "Whatever's out there, it's not just a beast. It's a sentinel, a guardian of some terrible secret. And I've got a feeling we're not supposed to find it." The ship trembled again, more violently than before, and outside the window, the shadows seemed to ripple like a living wound across the fabric of space. It grew larger, swelling with a dark, pulsating energy that made Lay feel as if her mind was about to unravel. Her hands moved instinctively, adjusting the controls, trying to keep the ship steady as she fought against the chaos. "Look at that," she whispered, voice trembling with awe and fear. "It's like a gigantic breathing scar. Whatever it is, whatever caused all of this, it's the source of everything that's gone wrong." Her companion clenched his fists, eyes fixed on the monstrous form outside. "We need to get out of here," he said urgently. "This thing, whatever it is, it's angry. It's alive, and it's not done with us yet." Lay's jaw tightened. "Then we're going deeper," she declared, voice fierce. "We're going until we find the truth, no matter what it costs." As she pushed the throttle forward, the ship's engines groaned under the strain. The darkness outside seemed to push back, writhing as if trying to swallow them whole. The shadow pulsed again, a terrible, rhythmic thudding that echoed in her chest. Her heart pounded in her ears, but she refused to turn away. "See that?" she asked her companion, voice edged with adrenaline. "The entire space around is twisting, trying to keep us out. It's like the universe itself is fighting to stop us from uncovering the secrets hidden in that darkness." He nodded slowly, eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "Then we push through," he said softly, "because whatever horrors lie beyond that mass, we're the only ones brave enough and crazy enough to face them. And I swear, Lay, if this is the end, I want us to go out knowing we fought for the truth." Lay's grip on the controls tightened as she stared ahead, her jaw clenched. "We're not backing down now," she whispered fiercely. "Not when we're so close." With a surge of energy, she drove the ship forward, straight into the maelstrom of darkness. Outside, the shadow pulsed one last time, as if alive and eager to draw them in. The chaos roared around them, but Lay's eyes gleamed with a fiery resolve. She knew the truth was waiting just beyond the veil of darkness, hidden in the depths of that monstrous wound in space. All they had to do was reach out and grasp it. The shadows stretched endlessly, whispering secrets in a language only the brave could understand. And as the ship plunged deeper into the abyss, she was certain of one thing. Whatever lay ahead, they had no choice but to face it. The universe's darkest secrets were calling, and they were about to answer. The ship plunged into the darkness, the shadows swirling around them like a living entity eager to swallow them whole. Lay gritted her teeth, her fingers dancing across the controls as she fought to keep the vessel steady amidst the chaos. Outside, the monstrous mass pulsed with an unholy rhythm, almost as if it was breathing, waiting. Her companion's voice broke through the static, tense and strained. "Lay, whatever that thing is," he shouted over the noise, "it's not just an anomaly. It's a gateway, some sort of portal. We're right at the edge of something that defies everything we know." Her eyes widened. "A portal," she echoed, voice trembling with a mix of fear and awe. "You mean this could be the bridge to beyond? To whatever's on the other side?" He nodded grimly. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and as always, keep the last light burning.